Detail index for the BattleAxe V200 Sport Sharpened by Beowulf Big Blocks. This is Conal's car. This was the original idea that kicked off this whole series. For those of you who've seen the original video, this is a bit of an update. A couple of things have changed about the car, but I will still go over the entire thing. So first off, new changes. We have this down here to make the car look a little extra meaner in the back. It does now have a logo. There are the 5-spoke rims with the fairly large brakes. The car is equipped with a few different kinds of suspension. And I'll go ahead and pan this a little bit more in a second. But so the indicator on the side, the black handles. There's nothing on top of the car. As far as the car is built, don't need to know that. We have it is front longitudinal, which means that the engine is in the front and it points towards the back. The front suspension is the McPherson strut. The rear suspension is multi-link. Let me zoom in on both of those so that way you get a better idea about what that's like. It appears as if that's 5 links, so that's pretty sporty by my standards. There's the McPherson strut. It's got the control arm in the front and control arm on the bottom, and then the suspension up here. I'm pretty sure that it limits my my wheel size, but the back wheels are larger than they are in the front. And that's to get more traction, as well as a little bit less drag on the front wheels for when it's moving, because it's a sport model. Again, longitudinal rear-wheel drive. The car is bright red because OrcLogic states that red things go faster, so a red car should go faster. I know it doesn't, but it's just a theme. Here we have the engine. It makes, if you remember the engine last time, it was 350 horsepower. Now it's 385 and 378 foot-pound of torque. It's still a V8, ALSI, 350 cubic inches, a overhead cam, which looks a little something like, let's see if I can get some, like that. There's your single overhead cam. It does have 4 valves per cylinder. The head material is also ALSI. There is no variable valve lift, though there could be. A forged steel crank, I-beam steel conrods, and lightweight forged pistons. It is at maximum variable capacity. The quality is neutral. Compression at 9.5 to 1, which is pretty low. Not sure why it's higher. I thought I adjusted it, because that's one of the things that I ended up adjusting back when I got here, which is why it has more power. The cam profile is 49, which is a nice mix of race and low cam profile, which is supposed to give you a better curve, but it doesn't. However, the car is still fairly sporty. No variable valve timing. This is the style and color. The quality is, again, neutral. It is naturally aspirated, so there is no forced induction. I wish they had superchargers, but they only have turbos. But this does not have either. This is, again, no forced induction. The fuel system is injection, which is considered modern. You wouldn't want to put a carburetor on a 2012 car, which is what this is. I picked a multi-port injection, EFI. This way it made a pretty good amount of power for it's a fairly complex configuration, but I went with a single multi-port EFI with a standard intake and regular pump gasoline at 86.5 octane. The fuel mixture is freaking low, and I did this because it makes better economy, though it still makes pretty terrible economy. The ignition timing is 66. This way better economy, a little more power, and keep the octane pretty low too. A 6,000 RPM limit. The quality is +10 on this, which means that it's a little bit better. We have tubular, just regular tubular exhaust headers. There's dual exhaust ports because dual makes more power. This is more badass. There are no bypass valves on the mufflers. High flow 3-way catalytic converter for airflow, straight through and straight through on both mufflers. This way it reduces some noise, but not a whole lot. It allows for a lot of airflow though. Sort of the way that the high flow 3-way does. So there's that. Of course, since the sound of the car is also important per car, though admittedly a lot of these Beowulf Big Block engines do use this exact same engine, of course they will all be played per video. Depending on which video you are watching, this will come in handy. So I'm going to, let's do this. It starts off with a nice low rumble. You used to have to roll into it, but you don't have to do that anymore. The throttle response is fair, the loudness is okay, smoothness is decent, the reliability is rather good for what I usually do. This required cooling is met. The weight is 410 pounds. It fits in the engine compartment. The service costs are $1,500 a year. Its economy is 21%, approximately. And this way, and 20% is the highest I could get, which isn't great, considering what cars at the time were able to achieve, but still. The material cost of the engine alone is $3,200. That's not going to matter with the car in a second. Let's start with the gearbox. So what we have is a manual gearbox with a single clutch and 7 gear ratios. Why are there 7? Is this the Sport Sharpened? There's supposed to be 5 in here. Now that changes a lot of stuff, but it's supposed to be 5. Frick, why don't I just keep that open? We have a geared limited slip. The quality is neutral, again. We have medium compound, 16-inch rims, but 23.622-inch tires. 175mm front tires, 205 in the back. No offset. Alloy rims, and they're the Beowulf thick 5-spoke rims. The brakes were considered fairly large for this car. Vented discs, 2 pistons each, 280mm. You can see that over here too. Quality was left alone, despite the fact that it has fair quality. The brakes are very powerful. I probably could have oriented that a little bit better. No under tray, because that makes the car a bit cheaper. There's the airflow, and we have it almost exactly, which is a little hard to get. We don't have any brake airflow. The quality on the aerodynamics is at its highest value to decrease the drag. This makes it faster as well as more fuel efficient. And interior, we have 5 seats, which would be 2 in the front, bucket seats, and then 1 bench seat in the back that accommodates for 3 more. The interior style is standard. It's got standard entertainment, power steering, and anti-lock brakes. Of course, the anti-lock brakes are a bit of a luxury in this car. Standard O's on the safety. And again, medium quality. And we have some low-level springs. We have standard springs, adaptive dampeners, and then semi-active sway bars. I believe this is a sport setup. Again, medium quality. So the overall results are fair drivability, and mediocre sportiness, mediocre comfort, mediocre prestige. The safety is pretty good. Or fair, I should say. The total cost of the car is $11,293. It's a very practical car. Not a very utility car. Definitely not a very good off-road car. The average reliability is pretty good. The weight is about 3,400 pounds and 58 pounds. Gets 19.8 miles to the gallon, which again, like I said, I wasn't exactly good with that, so that's okay. It has a top speed of 150 miles an hour. That's frick. And a quarter mile time, so the time it takes to get down a quarter mile in a drag race straight line, 13.26 seconds. Same thing in a kilometer, 23.70 seconds. Acceleration from 0 to 62 in about 5.2 seconds. Its cornering ranks in at about 0.9 Gs all around. And its max roll angle is 1.38. I'm going to go back over here and pan the camera a whole lot more so that way you can see a little bit more of the car. And I will zoom in on the badge here in a second. So Beowulf Big Blocks, kind of your we don't give a frick Viking badassery kind of car dealer, if you could call them that. They went with the angriest possible look on just about every car that they have built, which in 2012 isn't much. Hopefully I'll expand that a little bit more in the future years. There's 2 more to come. So let's get a look at that badge. So I don't make any of the badges in the game, but we have the dragon to symbolize the I thought that would be a good Norse thing, but of course Beowulf Big Blocks, if you know the story of Beowulf, the dragon was his ultimate undoing in the story. So will they go out with a bang, or will they ultimately fail? Of course, there's the dual exhaust portrayed right here. As far as this car goes on a test track, I think I'll go ahead and throw this around a little bit of the test track. Give it a little bit of time to go around the test track. As it's loading, I forgot to mention that that they paint all their engines yellow, so that way, because also Orc logic is yellow creates flashier things and bigger explosions. So a yellow engine will have bigger explosions in the combustion chamber, thus creating more power for the car. You see those brakes kind of grab in. It does not take a very long time for the brakes to really stop the car, but getting up to speed isn't as easy. We're at about 80 kilometers an hour around that turn, and it does not pull much G-force going back, but when it slams on those brakes, it pulls a lot of force going forward. Holy crap, that was a lot more force than I was expecting. somewhere in the 1.5 Gs. So there's your brakes. Yeah, more brakes. It tends to be more biased up here in terms of its overall G-force. And as it shifts, it tends to be less. It tends to be less rear-oriented. .40 km/h around that turn. I do not know what this is in miles an hour, but I just know that miles an hour are a bit slower. Man, that stopped real hard. So again, then across the finish line. I hope you appreciated this particular portion of the index. If that is why you are here, if you just wanted to see a really cool vehicle, then awesome. That is really all I had to share. If you are interested in more of the index, this index is for a story by a few of my friends called Fire and Ice. And I'm creating a massive car index for the story. So, those are coming soon.